Hello, everyone. My name is Ashish Shinde. I'm Director of Engineering at Aerospike. Today, I'm going to be talking about Aerospike streaming connectors. To start off with the session, I will be sharing my screen for the presentation. Before I proceed with the presentation, what I do is I'll introduce you to the terminology that I'll be using during the presentation. Aerospike streaming connectors allow you to stream data from Aerospike or to Aerospike from other third-party systems. So the connectors for Aerospike, the streaming connectors, are categorized as inbound connectors, outbound connectors, and XDR adapters. Inbound connectors allow you to stream changes or messages from external systems into Aerospike database. Outbound connectors allow you to stream changes made to an Aerospike database into third-party systems. XDR adapters are special adapters that adapt your Aerospike installation to more constrained deployment scenarios. Uh, for the people who are not aware, XDR is a component of Aerospike Enterprise Server, which is an acronym for Cross Data Center Application. It's a component that allows you to stream changes made to a Aerospike cluster out of an Aerospike cluster. So the destination for XDR could be another Aerospike cluster that you might use for disaster recovery, or it could be an outbound connector which would stream the changes to third-party systems. Let's start off by looking at Aerospike inbound connectors. So an inbound connector, like I mentioned before, streams changes or messages from a source through an inbound connector into a destination Aerospike server. The changes could be messages that or events that user applications push to the source system. So the inbound connectors, we have implementations for Kafka, Pulsar, and GMS. The deployment of the connector depends on the source cluster or the type of source that we are using. So in the case of Kafka, the inbound connector is implemented as a Kafka sync connector, which plugs into the Kafka Connect framework. So the connector itself does not run as a separate process. It runs as a plugin within the Kafka Connect framework. The same is the case for Pulsar, where we have implemented the inbound connector as a Pulsar sync connector. In the GMS case, where the connector cannot be plugged into the source messaging queue, we run the connector as a separate instance, which consumes messages from the GMS source. So for the GMS connectors, we have tested our implementation against IBM MQ, Solus, Artemis, and RabbitMQ. So now we look at the internals of an inbound connector. To do that, we are going to trace the path that a message takes from the source cluster to the Aerospike destination. So once in the inbound connector case, once the message lands on the inbound connector, it goes through three phases. The first phase is configuration matching. The second phase is transformation, and the third phase is routing. The configuration matching phase decides on the configuration that should be applied to this particular message before it is routed to the Aerospike cluster. The next phase the message passes through is called the transformation phase. During the transformation phase, the incoming message is converted into the content for an Aerospike record. So Aerospike record simplistically has two key pieces of information. The first piece is the bins, which is a set of key value pairs that you store with an Aerospike record. The second piece of information is metadata, which includes things like the time to live or the expiry for Aerospike record. The routing phase then determines which namespace set and which primary key this record should be sent to. Now, for in the inbound connector, for transformation, we have two options. There's an inbuilt transformation that is built into the connector by default. This transformation allows you to use simple declarative rules to convert the incoming message into Aerospike bins or Aerospike metadata. In addition, you could also plug in a custom transformation which allows you to write custom code to transform the incoming message into Aerospike bin submitter data. The next thing that we do is look at the configuration for an inbound connector. All our inbound connectors structurally follow the same configuration rules. The configuration that is shown on the screen is color coded based on the elements that control specific phases that we have talked about. The magenta sections deal with configuration mapping. The green sections deal with routing, and the yellow sections deal with transformation. So the example that you see is configuration for a Kafka inbound connector. So what the configuration tells us is the inbound connector listens to messages for two topics, sessions and sessions expired. Those are highlighted in magenta. Then for messages that arrive on the sessions topic, we map those messages to a namespace called session. The mapping is static, which means that every message is going to be routed to the same namespace called session. You have option of making the namespace selection dynamic, in which case you could use a field in the incoming Kafka message as your namespace name. Then in addition, what we have done here is to use the Kafka message key as the Aerospec record key. In for the same topic, what we have configured is the bins section, which controls the transformation. This is the declarative syntax that we are seeing. This is the default message transformation that we see. Here we have configured all Kafka message fields to be converted to corresponding Aerospike bins. The second topic that the connector is configured to listen to is the sessions expired topic. In this case, what we would like to do is convert messages that arrive on sessions expired topic to Aerospike delete operations, or rather delete operations into the Aerospike database. Again, the routing section is similar to the first case, where we have the namespace statically configured, and we use the Kafka message key as the Aerospike record key. The section configuration section that we see to the right configures connectivity to the destination Aerospec cluster. The minimal configuration that's required is the Aerospec cluster endpoints, which are the seed hosts. In this configuration, we have also configured TLS. What we see next on the screen is an example of a custom transformation. Custom transformation allows you to do more elaborate or more intricate transformations on the incoming message. You could, for example, convert the incoming message to CDT operations. So you could take a field from the incoming message and append it to Aerospike CDT list. In this particular example, what we are doing is detecting Kafka tombstone messages and converting them to Aerospike delete operations. Messages which are not tombstone messages get converted to simple put or update operations on the corresponding Aerospec record. The next thing that we are going to look at is outbound connectors. So an outbound connector streams changes made to Aerospike server, changes made to records in Aerospike server to sync clusters. The outbound connectors that we have currently implemented do not run within any framework, for example, the Kafka Connect framework. The reason being it is more efficient to have XDR stream record through a outbound connector into the sync cluster, because the primary mechanism supported by Aerospec server is a push-based mechanism for change notification. So in the outbound case, we support the following things currently. We have support for Kafka, Pulsar, Google PubSub, and JMS. So JMS basically supports messaging queues that adhere to Java Messaging Service interface. We have tested our implementations against IBM MQ, Solus, Artemis, and RabbitMQ. Our outbound connectors are stateless. You could run multiple instances of the outbound connector to manage your change notification workload. The outbound connect instances are load balanced by XDR, and the deployments are flexible, which we'll look at shortly. The outbound connectors publish the change notification to the destination systems in multiple formats. The supported formats are Avro, which is a standard Avro format. We have a format that we call Kafka Avro. Again, this is the standard Avro format, but then this particular format caters to the schema registry that you run in Kafka Connect framework. Then we have a flat JSON format, which is a simple format that does not include any additional metadata which each outgoing field. And we have a more elaborate JSON format that includes metadata for each record field. The metadata includes the exact data type, the order in case of lists or maps. And then we do support message pack format, which is a standard message pack format. Now what we are going to do is look at the internals of an outbound connector. Similar to the inbound case, what we do is just trace the path taken by a change notification from Aerospike cluster to the destination sync cluster. So what we see here is applications updating data in Aerospike. For every record that is updated, the XDR component of Aerospike generates a change notification, which is streamed to the outbound connector. Within the outbound connector, the change notification goes through three phases. The first phase is configuration matching, which decides the configuration to be applied for the remainder of two phases. The second phase is transformation, where you convert the change notification into your destination format, which could be JSON or Avro or message pack. The third phase is routing phase, which determines where in the destination the change notification should be directed to. So in most cases, the routing phase would choose the topic or queue where the change notification should be sent to. Next, what we do is look at Aerospike outbound connector configuration. So what you see on the screen is a minimal configuration for streaming data into Kafka from Aerospike. So the green sections control routing, the yellow sections control transformation, the magenta sections control configuration mapping. So all our outbound connectors follow the same structure of configuration. So you can configure a message at the default or a global level. So configurations at the global level apply to all change notifications, irrespective of the namespace or set. In addition, what you could do is override the global configuration at namespace or set level. So a message which belongs to a particular namespace would use the configuration for that namespace, or rather the overridden configuration for that namespace, ditto for sets. So in this particular case, if we look at the left side, what we can see is we have configured all messages that arrive at the connector to be formatted as JSON messages. We apply simple declarative bin transformations. So the outbound connectors currently support declarative and simple transformations applied to bin names. So what you could control is the mapping between Aerospike bin names and the outbound formats field names. In this case, what we are doing is changing a field called yellow to a field called red. And we also transform the bin names to uppercase before routing them out. The routing section in this case is static in the global case, and we have statically configured all messages to go to a destination topic called ASDB update. To the right, what we see is namespace and set specific overrides. The namespace specific section again changes the format of flat JSON and uses a topic called users. And then for records that belong to the user namespace and a set called premium, we route the record into a topic called premium, and we apply a different bin transformation. Next, what we look at is different ways in which you can deploy the outbound connectors. What you see here is the simplest deployment, where you have one layer which runs the Aerospike server. You have another layer which runs multiple instances of the outbound connector, and then the final layer is your sync cluster, which could be again Kafka, Pulsar, or Google PubSub, or a GMS based messaging system. In this particular deployment, every Aerospike server is configured to talk to every outbound connector instance. So the advantages of this particular setup is the simplicity. The only drawback to this setup is an additional network hop between the Aerospike server and the outbound connector. The next deployment is a more elaborate deployment where we couple the Aerospike server instances to an outbound connector. Now, this deployment reduces or gets rid of one additional network hop between the Aerospike server and the outbound connector. The additional complexity here is making sure that both the Aerospike server instance and the outbound connector run on the same host. These deployments are easier to deal with in Kubernetes sort of scenarios where you could run the Aerospike server and the outbound connector as a single pod. The outbound connectors do support monitoring, metrics monitoring. So we provide an endpoint with each outbound connector instance that can be scraped from Prometheus. So you could integrate or push the metrics from the Aerospike connectors into Prometheus. From there, you graph the metrics using Grafana. You could monitor the metrics using Grafana dashboards and also run alerts on the metrics. Lastly, we are going to talk about Aerospike XDR adapters. So the first XDR adapter that we are going to talk about is called Aerospike XDR proxy. The Aerospike XDR proxy is applicable in cases where you'd want to have XDR stream data from a source cluster to a destination sink cluster through a firewall. You would probably want to do this where you want to restrict your attack surface and limit exposing uh, rather one IP from your destination Aerospike cluster. So the way you do that is have a firewall, have a load balancer behind the firewall, open up the firewall to the load balancer IP, and then behind the load balancer run one or more instances of the XDR proxy. So the way this entire setup works is any change that happens to the source Aerospike cluster is streamed by Aerospike XDR component through the firewall to the load balancer. The load balancer then load balances the change notification to one of the XDR proxy instances. The XDR proxy instance then terminates the change notification into the sync Aerospike cluster. So in this setup, we are going to have the load balancer, load balance TCP connections instead of individual change notification requests. Uh, in cases where you have access to a L7 load balancer, a better deployment would be to have XDR coupled with another component called HTTP adapter for XDR. This particular component converts XDR change notifications into HTTP requests, which then can be routed to a L7 load balancer. The L7 load balancer would load balance the change notifications at each individual change notification level and load balance them to a set of XDR proxy instances. So the advantage in this case is you can scale the XDR proxy transparently without having to change or recreate TCP connections because the L7 load balancer works at individual change notification level. Now we'll just talk about what you can expect from the streaming connectors in the future. So what we are working on is supporting more sources and sinks, allowing for more richer transformations, more richer routing rules, and then support for Kubernetes sort of deployments with health charts and more examples. You can look at details of all our streaming connectors on Aerospike website. The link to the documentation is on your screen. That concludes my presentation on the streaming connectors. I'll now open the floor for question and answers. Yeah.
Good for Q&A. All right. Thanks everyone for joining this session. This is Kiran Madi, Director of Product, and I'm joined by Joe and Ashish, who you heard a little while ago. Uh, Please post your questions in the chat window if you have any. We do have a few questions that came through in the past 20 minutes or so. Let me bring those up. The first question that we have is, do we support Kafka-based Kafka-based platforms such as Confluent, and Streamz?
Yeah. So essentially, we do support Confluent. We have our connector certified against Confluent. So we do support Confluent. For Streamz, what we are going to do is do a little bit more testing. But then we have customers who have tried our connectors on Streamz as well. So that should work too. We have not done much extensive testing on Amazon, MKS, etc. That's something we'll be working on next, just to make sure that our connectors do work correctly on those platforms.
Thanks, Ashish. The second question that we have is, how secure is the Aerospike connector?
Um, so essentially, all our outbound connectors do support TLS and TLS-based authentication. They don't have user-based authentication, but then you could secure the transmission both from Aerospike to the outbound connector using TLS, and you could also have some form of mutual authentication setup between the outbound connector and the destination sync. Again, you could use TLS and also the destination syncs authentication mechanisms. If you're on Kafka, you could use all the Kafka specific authentication mechanisms. With GMS, we do support whatever mechanisms the destination message queue works with. Similarly for Pulsar, so you could make sure that the users are authenticated or the connector is authenticated at both ends, and the data transmission can be secured using TLS.
And just to add to that, Ashish, if the brokers are configured for SASL, we do support that as well, right?
Yes. So with Kafka, we do support SASL.
Okay, fair enough. The next question that I see is, do you have anything similar to Kafka single message transforms, which is SMT, to transform messages going in and out of Aerospike?
So currently, messages that go into Aerospike from Kafka can be intercepted by user plugin. You could plug in your own custom code and intercept messages, which is very similar to the Kafka single message transforms. So you could use that feature for moving messages from Kafka into Aerospike. For the outbound connectors, it's currently not supported. It's a feature that we are considering implementing.
Right. Thanks, Ashish.
Again, the same transforms apply for the other inbound connectors as well.
Ashish, I think you hit on this already. The question was, can the Kafka connector be deployed in Kubernetes or Docker?
Yes, so our inbound connectors basically is our Kafka inbound connector is a sync connector. So the Kafka connector that your container that you run on Kubernetes or Docker, you just need to make sure that the container image has the Aerospike inbound connector installed. That's all you need to do to run the Kafka inbound connector on Kubernetes or Docker. For the outbound connectors, with the next release of the outbound connectors, we are going to release both the Docker containers for the connector, as well as some help charts or some advisement on how you could run the outbound connector on Kubernetes, some documentation around it. So you should expect that in the next release for the outbound connectors.
Sounds good, Ashish. One last question. Can the Kafka connector be used for high throughput use cases?
Yeah, yes, sure. So with a few caveats, so if you're using custom transforms for the inbound connector, you need to make sure that you limit the amount of time the connector spends in the custom transform. But apart from that, all our connectors can be used in high throughput cases. Both the inbound connectors and the outbound connectors, they do scale well. Most of our connectors are stateless and they can be horizontally scaled.
All right, thanks, Ashish. And that's all we have in the chat window. Thanks all for joining this session. Please let us know if you have any further questions. Feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining the session. Thank you very much.